Alright guys, so today I'm going to share with you some solo traveling tips. A lot of us love to travel and then sometimes we don't know where to turn. All the trips I've done all by myself. So my first tip is going to talk about my budget. So typically I set $1,000 aside for every trip and I get to spend usually 5 to 7 days in whatever city I go to with $1,000. So typically I spend about no more than $300 on a flight. Of course, I live in Gainesville, so I have to fly to another airport, then fly to another airport because Gainesville is a regional airport. So $300 allocated towards flight expenses. I typically try to find a really cheap Airbnb ahead of time. And I communicate with my Airbnb host, and sometimes they're nice and they try to work with me and give me a cheaper rate because I'm a student, but I'm no longer a student. And also I try to find hostels. And I will talk about this later, but I stayed at a hostel in Los Angeles on Hollywood Boulevard for 40 bucks a night. So basically, if you spend if you spend 5 nights in any location and you spend around $50 to $60 at an Airbnb, then you're really looking at $300 for your stay. In terms of budgeting for food, I try to go to a grocery store in whatever city I go to and buy some snacks, but I also treat myself to meals. I treat myself to at least one good meal when I'm traveling. I do so much walking that I don't even have time to think about eating 3 meals when I travel. So I typically just do a breakfast at the hotel or the hostel or whatever, and then I will go snack on like almonds or something for lunch that I buy with me, and for dinner I'll do like a good meal. So that's like food, hotel, flight, I would say about 800 bucks. And then I never rent cars or I never take Ubers when I'm in cities. I typically just figure out the bus system when I get to the city or the town, or even ahead of time. So now I'm going to get into planning before the trip. You should know what you want to do before you even get to the location. So coming up with an itinerary. This is what I want to do on these days. And also looking at the weather. So I want to go to the beach. Oh, but it's going to rain on Wednesday, so I guess I can't do the beach on Wednesday. Let me do it on Tuesday or Thursday instead. And also making sure that you look at Google Maps and have an idea of what you want to do when you get to that location. So also leaving yourself about $200 for unexpected expenses that may come up. So that's about $1,000. That's 5 days. If you go for longer, you're probably going to spend more than that. But on average, the average week-long vacation to any domestic location in the US is about $1,000. So I'm going to use an example now. I went to Los Angeles, California in the summer of 2017 for 5 days, all by myself, without a smartphone. So what I did first was I planned out everything I wanted to do, because I'm a planner. The first thing I did was I booked my hostel on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It's called the Walk of Fame Hostel. It's 40 bucks a night, and I spent 5 nights there, so that's 200 bucks. My flight was very expensive because I booked it too far in advance, and I booked it in a peak season. So book your flights in a non-peak season if you know you want to go somewhere. My flight was like 500 bucks, so that was a lot. But I really wanted to go to LA, and I went by myself, and it was great. So basically, on that Sunday, I hung out at Hollywood Boulevard and just explored. That Monday, I did some activities with the hostel. I went to Runyon Canyon State Park and just hiked all that day. And you can see all of LA from the top. That Tuesday, I just went to Beverly Hills and I took a bus there. So no Ubers, took a bus. And I took my laptop with me. So I would use my laptop to kind of get an idea of where things were. I didn't have a smartphone, so I just used my laptop instead. That Wednesday, I went out to a TV show that I had signed up for ahead of time. You have to do it ahead of time. That Thursday, I went to Santa Monica and Venice Beach. And that Friday, I came back to Gainesville. So I had a really, really good time, and I went to LA without a smartphone, and I didn't spend more than $1,000 for the whole trip. I'll go back in the future, and next time I am going to have a smartphone.